One more delegation. We have 7.5. Romolo, Tantalo, Brampton, with regards to the encampments, I understand. Romolo, are you here or are you here virtually? Here in person. There he is. Romolo, welcome. Romolo, welcome, and you have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time. I didn't think I was actually going to use the whole 5 minutes, but last few delegations opened up my eyes to what's really going on. I had a feeling, but I understood. So my main question or concern was for the homeless encampment policy. Talks about funding, placements, procedures to get help, and treating them with respect and humanity, which totally understand. And it's going to take time to come up with this policy and procedure. Question is, for the people that don't want help or refuse to help, what are we going to do about that? And I understand we can't kick them out, especially if we don't have the housing. And I know, as you stated, it could be 12 years before we have enough housing. I didn't know that. That's insane. That being said, I would still like some sort of protocol or procedure to be included in that. So, God willing, one day we do have enough housing that the 2% that will refuse to help, I understand people say everybody deserves help, and they do. And I'm talking about as a last resort. But there's always going to be people that say, I don't want help, and that's their choice. We can't force them. We're not a society like that. We can't bring them into a house that they don't want, into counseling they don't want, and so on and so forth. So I'm just looking into a policy that we can have. It's better to have and not use, or have and not need, than need and not have. So just something that's in writing. Something that's, treating with humanity, but at the end of the day, kind of like, okay, you guys, we've given you 3 weeks, come to you multiple times, offered you a place to live, if there's a place to live, and so on and so forth, and you still say no, some sort of policy, then you got to move on, find your own way, which is tough love. We all understand that. On the second tone, man, the information that I was made aware with for financing, 30 years, we're still fighting this battle. No, the voters don't know this. And I understand your frustration. I would be screaming at the top of my lungs. So I understand what you guys are going through, the frustrations, because at the end of the day, everything takes money and time, especially money. If we had a lot of money, it'd be done fast. My only recommendation, press conferences are great. Getting the word out is, you need to do it, but there's got to be a different plan of attack in getting the word out. Press conferences deal with television. Television is a dying media. There's a lot of cable cutters, like myself and my wife. We cut the cable. We haven't had cable in 10 years. We have to do it in other ways. Social media. Mr. Vincentes, you understand this, because my wife and I voted for you when you had your show, I believe it was on Facebook. I don't know if you still have it. We understood what you stand for and what you're about, because you were able to get the word out. I would recommend the same thing by using social media, especially the younger generation. You got to get more votes out. You got to get more votes out and pressure. And nothing happens until someone's job is in trouble. So I agree with all of them. Now that we have more data, just the message has to get out. And there has to be a social media presence, a campaign. I also explained this to Santos when we had the meeting on May 9th in downtown Brampton, brought the concerns. We can enlighten the voters to put pressure diplomatically on the MPs and MPPs. As you stated, there was a lot more voice in Quebec. Quebecers are known to protest. That's just in their culture and their nature. And we can take a page out of that. Just by this meeting, not everybody has time to go to a meeting like this. Like self-employed, I make my own hours. My boss is pretty, tight sometimes. But you have to get the information out. That's the only way. Having these meetings, this is a silo. Only so many people come to these meetings. Only certain groups understand or log in and listen. Everybody's busy dealing with high prices in groceries, as you stated, houses, and so on and so forth. So on that part, I would really highly recommend a social media, because that's the only way, especially this day, it's only going to get worse. And that's it. Thank you.
Romolo, thank you very much. And I know it all too well that French folks complain. I've been married to one for 37 years, so I say that in jest. Thank you very much for coming, because it's real people like you that are listened to almost more than us. And your perspective on your first day here, I'm guessing, just to get a feel for all of the moving parts. It's so hard. You give us hope.
Yeah, so
here's the average person that hears us for this, so goes, man, it's really that bad? And we've been at it 36 years, but we're winning if people like you say, man, I didn't know it was this bad. Now, we still have to take our share of the blame for what, but you're what gives us hope. I'm going to stop. Councillor Santos, you were named, so I want to go to you first, please, on the list to respond.
Thank you so much.
I meant Councillor Vincent. Councillor Santos is on my list, but we'll carry on that way. Councillor Santos, any questions at this time?
Thank you so much. Through you, Mr. Chair. Romolo, thank you very much for coming to delegate and for attending that meeting with the police on May the 9th. As you know, if you recall from that meeting, it's such a layered issue when we start talking about funding. And because the region of Peel and the city of Brampton, we are really the frontliners when it comes to government. Unfortunately, the residents expect a lot more of us, even though we don't have the resources that the other levels of government have. And as I shared in that meeting, and as you've learned today, the problem is very real when it comes to underfunding at the region of Peel, from particularly the provincial government and the federal government as well. But today was about the provincial government. And as what the chair mentioned, Romolo, my question to you is, can you help us spread that word and share and educate the residents in the area? Because it is hard to do, even with social media. I post every single day, have a website dealing with the issue, send email updates. It's so difficult to break through because residents are so busy. But I know that neighbors talk to neighbors. I know that when folks are sitting on the patio or when you're doing your walks and see each other at the dog park, you talk to each other, and we need your help. I'm asking for your help to kind of spread the word on how chronically underfunded the region is for decades, and how it has exasperated to a point where we're dealing with the homeless in the encampments in our area. So that's a question through you, Mr. Chair, to Romolo, and with much appreciation.
Of course, as a citizen or a native Bramptonian, I've been here for 43 years, all my life, raising my kids here now. Of course, I'd be spreading the information that I've learned here today. However, my reach is only as far as the neighborhoods. Let's say there's 100 people. I get 100 people to call an MPP. They're not going to listen to 100 people, okay? My recommendation is not to say I'm not going to continue to help and do my part. And I understand Ms. Santos has social media as well. But it's not just, so everybody has to work on this, not just one or two counselors, every single person. Not only that, I would make a recommendation on being interviewed and pleading your case to other social media stars. Like, for example, there's one gentleman I listen to, his name is David Doyle. He worked on 1010 Radio. He has his own channel called Rational National. He's got over 500,000 people that watch him on YouTube. He's a local Canadian, he lives here in Toronto. So I would recommend reaching out to him and other people like him to plead your case that already have the reach that Peel doesn't have. At the same time, working on your own reaches, growing your own social media network. At the same time, as a citizen, I will do my part to spread the words, but it has to be in different ways, not just one way. We can't use just television. We can't use just word of mouth. It has to be in different factions. Work with the resources we have and go to other resources. Like I said, Rational National, David Doyle would be more than happy because he's a fighter for encampments, people getting homes, he would be all on board on this. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you so much through you, Mr. Chair Romolo, for your assistance, and I look forward to following up with you. And certainly, if we had 100 Romolos out there, we'd get the word out faster. So I think we just need to identify who those folks are. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.